Coming your way on NBA Now by Chat Sports, another mailbag where we take your questions during our live show as we be going live pretty much every single day of NBA free agency. If you want the best year-round coverage on the National Basketball Association, news, rumors, breaking news, really creative and innovative segments, the best digital coverage on the entire internet, just subscribe to the channel or head to youtube.com/chatsportstv. Luke Byrne, does AJ Lawson land on an NBA squad? Yeah, he's a Mavericks guy who we talked about in Jaden Hardy's debut. Everybody was talking about Hardy. He actually looked pretty good. Length, some scoring ability. I like the athleticism. I think he has an opportunity to maybe compete for a Mavericks roster spot. Does he land a two-way contract, Coop? I think it could happen.
Yeah, I think he could definitely get a two-way. At worst, he'll get a camp invite for some NBA team, hopefully the Mavs.
Yeah, I just think if you want to better your team, you bring in a guy like that who's like a borderline NBA player, because in practice, you want a guy who's active like that and is feisty. Jeff Stamps, do you think the Nuggets could make a good push for Donovan Mitchell, and would it be a good fit? Who are you giving up, right? Michael Porter Jr.? If you're Utah back a couple years ago, you might ask for MPJ, but the back injuries were the biggest concern when he was entering the draft. If it wasn't for that, he may have been the number one overall player in that respective draft class. And now you're not going to trade away Jamal Murray coming off the torn ACL. You're, of course, not going to trade the Joker. So which assets do you have to give up? Bones Highland is a player who has some upside, but again, he doesn't move the needle all that much. Future draft capital, you have to expect if you're Utah, the Nuggets are going to be a good team, so those picks are going to be in the 20s. So I do not think that's realistic, but I do appreciate the question, Jeff. Rainman43, could you see Luka Doncic ever requesting a trade out of Dallas? Look, you can't rule anything out in nowadays NBA where there are frequent trade requests. Superstars often get disgruntled. They want to change the scenery. Shoot, Kevin Durant, a year after signing that max extension with Brooklyn, requests a trade, and now he might not play for the Nets. And in the span of a calendar year, you go from having KD, Kyrie, and James Harden to not having any of them. So Luka Doncic, if he gets frustrated in the future with the Mavericks' lack of team success, obviously making it to the Western Conference Finals this past year was huge for him, proving himself as one of the game's best, but also that franchise and keeping him happy, then, you can never rule anything out in the craziness of professional sports. If you're Dallas, though, you lose Jalen Brunson, you got to find that co-star for Luka. That's the biggest job for Mark Cuban over the next couple of years. It's find that legit number two for Luka Doncic, and right now, they don't have it with Brunson bolting. Grade the Mavs off season so far. I gave them like a B minus because I like the JaVale McGee signing, and I'm hoping that they're going to make some other moves. Maybe I should have gone C. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, you can let your voices be heard and give the Mavs a grade right now in the comment section. Robert Bruce, the homie. Hello, Chase, Harrison, Mitch, Tom, Marshall, Brett, Jeff, Jackson, Trace, Coop. You're the man, Robert. We appreciate the positivity. Who's Jackson, by the way? I'm not sure. Oh, Jackson Lauderay. That's good stuff. My goodness. He knows the Chat Sports crew even better than I do because I forgot that Jack was Jackson. Let's see. This is his question. Do you think Malcolm Brogdon will take the point guard position right away, or will he back up Marcus Smart? If you acquire Malcolm Brogdon, he's going to be, I believe, the starter. Although, look, if you want to move forward with Marcus Smart as your starting PG, that would surprise me, but obviously, Boston likes him. He was really good last year, Defensive Player of the Year. I just thought in the playoffs, they kind of missed that primary ball handler who's that true experienced point guard. Smart is not that. Makes good decisions, makes bad decisions sometimes too with the basketball. So maybe Marcus Smart off the bench, but if it's Brogdon, I don't know. Boston's thinking they could go with Marcus Smart as a starter and Brogdon coming in off the bench. I'm interested to see what happens there. Mr. Clean 999. Chase, you think the Cavs can land Donovan Mitchell? In a sign and trade for Colin Sexton, maybe. Year 2, Colin Sexton was a good player. Averaged about 20 points per game. Year 3, it went up to 24 points per game. If you're Utah and you think that you can build around Colin Sexton, which the jury is certainly out there in terms of points per game production, pretty similar when he's healthy, when he's right, as compared to Donovan Mitchell. As Mitchell, throughout 5 years in the NBA, floating around 25 points per game, Sexton does have that ability. Does he elevate his teammates? Yeah, maybe not as much as a prototypical point guard, but does D-Mitch elevate his teammates? I'm not sure if he's like that primary distributor. So you find a way to bring in Colin Sexton as part of a sign and trade. It all comes down to the basketball evaluation for Utah. Now make sure you turn on your notifications here at Chat Sports. Look, cover the NBA a lot here at Chat Sports, but also we're your home for the best NFL coverage. And with training camp coming up in just a couple of weeks, we're going to start to ramp up our NFL coverage and college football as well. So you don't want to miss anything that we're doing, anything that we're cooking up, whether it be a video on demand as we pump out multiple per day, or a live show as we go live a couple times per week. So make sure you turn on those notifications. Therefore, when we do push out a video or go live, you'll be notified. How do you do it? You go to the settings app, scroll down, tap YouTube, tap notifications, and then turn on allow notifications. Therefore, you'll stay in the know with everything that we're doing. Max McNeil. Should the Celtics bring back Dennis Schroder? I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think they traded him away for a reason. They realized that this guy was trying to increase his value to land a big deal in NBA free agency, and as of this recording on Wednesday, hasn't happened yet. So they were cool with getting rid of him to bring back Daniel Tice, and that's pretty telling that Dennis Schroder couldn't hold on to a roster spot, or the Celtics didn't want him. The Lakers were happy that he turned down that $84 million contract extension because he didn't sign it, and then they didn't re-sign him in free agency. Does Houston bring him back? He has value certainly as a six-man scorer. I don't think he has value, or the Celtics want him in Boston. Jay Fish. Can the Suns get Kevin Durant? Yes. Do the Nets want DeAndre Ayton? No. That is really the domino. And if they don't want DeAndre Ayton, they don't think that he can be a franchise pillar, then they're not going to trade away Devin Booker. They're not going to trade away Chris Paul. Can you put together a package of Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and some future picks? I think that's a decent haul for Brooklyn. I also kind of like what Brooklyn's been able to do in free agency. Obviously, you don't have that star, but if you can get a star, that's a pretty legit, well-rounded roster. Jordan Fallon. Do you think that KD could go to the Lakers or the Trailblazers? No chance for the Lakers. For the Trailblazers, again, it comes down to assets. Jeremy Grant, Shaedon Sharpe, although he's getting shoulder surgery, so he's going to miss some time in the NBA Summer League. He's out for the remainder of it. Future draft picks. I know everybody got really excited about that edit with KD and Dame, but I just don't think it's really all that realistic. Would I like to see it? Yeah, KD and Dame would be a lot of fun. Both Nike guys, too, where the Nike headquarters is near in the Pacific Northwest, where they have a massive following. But I just don't think it's realistic, and the Lakers, they don't have any assets to give up unless it's Anthony Davis. Who will Kevin Durant play for next year? We just talked about him, so you let us know right now in the comment section. Predict KD's next destination right now in the comments. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility either that he goes back to Brooklyn. Bound 77G. Who should the Lakers focus on signing? Put all your eggs in the Kyrie Irving basket and try to bring him in. It makes the team better. Get rid of Russell Westbrook. Kyrie would be cheaper and younger. I understand that people have concerns about Kyrie in the future, but with LeBron about to be 38 in December, you don't care about the future. F them picks, right? Who cares about those picks in 2025 and 2027? You're trying to win right now. Jake the Snake, 69. Is this my boy Jake Brown? With Draymond Green having 2 years left on his deal, Golden State should trade for Ben Simmons to start grooming him in that role. Now, I've said this about Ben Simmons. I think for him, he would benefit from forgetting about wanting to be a point guard in this league. I think those days have come and gone, and frankly, I don't think that's where he's valued the most, because point guards, in my opinion, they need to be able to hit free throws, and they need to be able to stretch the floor to a certain degree, and Ben Simmons does neither well. He's actually unwilling to shoot the basketball. So Simmons in a Draymond Green type of role intrigues me a lot, because he's an excellent defender, all-NBA defender too, by the way. And that's the last time that we saw him, that year, 2 years ago. He was an all-NBA defender. Unbelievable vision, good screener and roller, pick and pop guy who can hang out in that dunker spot, can pass from the low post or the high post like Draymond. And this guy is a really smart basketball player. As far as him going to the Warriors, doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, it's interesting that Draymond Green has 2 years left on his deal. What's going to happen in the future? How does he age? And does Golden State pay him once more? probably for past production instead of future production, something to keep an eye on. I like Simmons in the Draymond Green role. I don't think the Warriors make a play for him. The NFL Kid, thoughts on not my favorite team, but my hometown team, the Charlotte Hornets. The NFL Kid, we know you're always repping Charlotte. Respect to you for showing out for the hometown. Somewhat of a bad and ugly free agency period for them, all because of Bridges. What's going to happen with Bridges? And they have a lot of money left now. If they decide to not offer him a contract, but unfortunately for them, there aren't a lot of other options out there in terms of top-tier guys in free agency. So LaMelo Ball, that max contract extension, it is looming in the future. And if you're Charlotte, what are you selling him on? Selling him on Steve Clifford? That's a little bit of a problem, so a little bit of a concern moving forward. Subscribe to us here at Chat Sports for interactive mailbags like this where we allow you to join the conversation and drive the conversation, but also live shows, updates, breaking news, the best news and rumors. We have you covered here at Chat Sports. Show us some love and subscribe.